Alrighty, fifth grade. Today's social studies deals with the country of Nigeria. Here are the countries that you should have labeled last week with Western Equatorial Africa, countries 14 through 30, Guinea-Bissau, Guinea, Sierra Leone, Liberia, Ivory Coast, Ghana, Togo, Benin, Nigeria, that's the country we're going to focus on today, Cameroon, Central African Republic, which I'll refer to as CAR, Democratic Republic of the Congo, which I'll refer to as DRC, Republic of the Congo, Gabon, Equatorial Guinea, Sao Tome and Principe, and Cape Verde. Here's the map that you labeled them. You should have colored now 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, little 20, 21. 22 is Nigeria that we're going to go to. And Cameroon, obviously you could not color 28 except for this little part where my marker's over. Right between 27 and 23, there's a little rectangle. That's part of 28. That gets colored. Be careful. Maybe you colored it already and not the right color. That's part of Equatorial Guinea. That's the only part of that island nation, but it's got a little part of mainland. 29 you can't color, Sao Tome and Principe, and 30 is Cape Verde. You can't color that either. So we're going to be going to number 22, Nigeria. That is the country that I have on the map here. Nigeria is located on the eastern end of the Gulf of Guinea, which is an arm of the Atlantic Ocean. It's the largest country along the Gulf. It's about the size of 3 of our states, Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas combined, except this country has 4 times the number of people that live in those 3 states. So if you took the total number of people in Texas, which is pretty big, Oklahoma and Arkansas, took it times 3, you'd get the number of people in Nigeria. Nigeria is the largest populated nation in Africa. It has more people than any other nation. Now, to kind of get at some of the specifics, which you'll be reading about today in your assignment, Nigeria, shaped like this, which is the left one here, can be divided into three geographical regions. The north region, the western region, and the eastern region. And you'll read about those. Kind of divided by 2 rivers that flow through. And over here on the bigger one, you can see the word northern region, excuse me, up on the top, western region over here, and the eastern region. But this map is a little bit easier to see. Okay, this nation then has different ethnic groups that live throughout it, or tribal groups as they used to call them. And there are 4 main tribal groups that I'm going to have you label on your paper. They're going to be found on page 393. In the northern region are 2 groups of people. First one, Hausau, and the second one, Fulani. Hausau and Fulani. You can try saying that if you wish. In the west is the group of people called Yoruba. And then in the east, the majority of the population is of the ethnic group or tribal group called Igbo. So Igbo, Yoruba, Hausau, and Fulani, you'll label those on your map. 2 of them, though, are in the northern region. Now, what divides this land? 2 major rivers that flow through it. The big river is Niger. You can see my marker going down. Here's the delta. Down to the bottom, you see the word delta. There are 3 biggest rivers in all of Africa. You know the biggest one, the Nile. That's the longest one in all of Africa. And then you have the Congo River, and then this one, the Niger. So that's there. And then the other one is the Benue River. Looks like Benue River right there. It's a tributary into the Niger. So that river right there separates Ibu and the Hausa and Fulani. And then the Niger separates Yoruba and Hausa and Fulani. And then when it's combined, that river separates the Yoruba and the Ibu, or the west from the east. So different types of groups. There are different types of land that go through this country. We'll talk about just a few, 3 of them. Near the coast of Nigeria, most of the land is swampy. And I want to show you that here. There we go. It has mangrove trees that grow in that swampy land. You can see the water there of the Gulf of Guinea. Notice the roots of those trees. They're above ground. Most of the time, roots go deep into the soil to find the water. Here, they're above. The water's right there. So, very unusual type tree. Oops. Let me go back. Back screen, previous. Okay. So, when these trees get cut down to be used, they're used to make boats. They don't rot. Obviously, they're in the water. They make houses, railroad ties, and posts. So it's a very valuable tree form, very dense mangrove forests that are in Nigeria along the coast. They grow very well in shallow ocean salt water. 2 other types of lands that they have in Nigeria are the tropical rainforest. A lot of rain, and to the north part where the Hausa and Fulani are, there's savannas. So those are the 3 types: tropical rainforest, savannas, and then the swamps. One of the problems in Nigeria, remember we talked about 5 of them in your notes that you had on your African note quiz? One of them that they have is too many languages spoken. Well over 250 different languages spoken throughout. Imagine that. In the United States, if you went to a different state, you had to speak another language. We got 50 states, and you can speak English in all of them. Nigeria, the size of 3 of our states that I mentioned earlier, over 250 different languages spoken. That's quite a block to national unity. One of the other things that they've had in their history is a civil war. We know, we study in Iowa history, the Civil War of 1861. Nigeria fought a war about 100 years after that. Started in 1967 when the Igbos, one of the 4 tribes that were mentioned before, tried to start a new nation called Biafra. This war destroyed much of the homes, the businesses, farms, roadways, as you can imagine. Nigeria did not want to lose that eastern part of them. There's some rich land in there that they wanted to keep. So the war went on to settle who was going to, were they going to be their own nation, or were they any part of it? Sort of like the South wanted to do to the North. And here the 3 other tribes won, so they are one nation. The Igbos lost that war. Going on, people in Nigeria depend on farming. And here's one of the things they grow on their land. What you're looking at there is a cassava plant. One of the chief ones. It's a root crop. So you notice on the right side over here, here is your cassava that they will crack off, ground into flour. It's the most common food eaten in Africa on the western equatorial region. But here's the root, and over here you see the green leafy part of the plant. That's cassava. The other root crop is yams. This time, here's the root on this side and the green leafy part on the top on the right. Major crop. Over 95% of the world's yam is harvested in this area. It can be stored, that's one of the good things, without refrigeration. So when you don't have a lot of refrigeration, food will spoil. Yams will not do that. So that's a good part. A crop, though, that's grown to be sold, so we call that a cash crop, is the palm kernels, which you see over here. Here's a palm kernel. It's used to make soap and oil margarine. The kernels up in the oil palm tree that you can see over here, a little grove of them. Palm oil, as I said, used to making soap and oil margarine. And Nigeria is the world's leading exporter of these palm oil kernels. Another one that they have is cacao. It's grown in the southwest where the land is a little drier. Only Ghana exports out of their country more cacao than Nigeria. Peanuts are also a major exporter. So they grow lots of different crops. You listed a lot of those in the other countries before. So they also work off the land. There's been droughts which have killed a lot of their animals. Going into the mineral wealth of Nigeria, they do have a lot of land of great mineral resource. In the northern part of it, they have mineral deposits of tin. That would be the major ore mine there, tin, T-I-N. And tin smelters where they heat up that tin, process most of the iron before it gets exported. Columbite then is a byproduct of that tin. It's a very rare mineral. And here it is. You can see it on the right. There's where it's found in the rock. You got to mine that out. Oops. Sorry again. The columbite is used, as you can read, in jet engines and other aircraft components, but it's also used in electronic devices like our cell phones and our DVD players. Very useful mineral. And one of the last things I want to mention is they also mine oil. Oil is drilled. It was discovered in about 1960, and it's using a lot of their profits to help start new industries, to improve their roads, their transportation system, which a lot of Africa needs help on, and just to provide help to their people. So hopefully the future wealth and no more civil wars will help make Nigeria a major nation in West Africa. That's all I have for that today.